Ring the bell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Society, and welcome to our review show here of AEW Double or Nothing 2024. I'm Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. Jooseyboy, how's it going, bro?
Dude, well, actually, I wish it was going better, but we've just watched this show, so it's so-so. That'll weed out all the
Straight
AEW.
away, just straight away
Hang on.
negative.
That will weed out all the AEW fanboys that don't actually want a nuanced discussion about the product. If you just like to dick ride AEW, don't watch our videos. They're not for you. We speak about reality on these
actively
reviews.
telling people to go away. Now, you know what? Stick around. Get angry at us. Okay. So, Double or Nothing, Jooseyboy, May 26th, in Nevada there, the MGM Grand Arena, 6,878 people in attendance for what was apparently the greatest wrestling pay-per-view this year, according to some people.
We'll get to that at the end. Of
Yep.
course, we're going to be dissecting some tweets, but first of all, Karlifornia, take us through the pre-show if you watched it, my friend.
Yeah. I was watching the pre-show on YouTube. And you know how they have the live chat, and it replays when you watch it after the fact? I saw someone comment in there, Kevin Owens and Ricochet in AEW, please. And I'm like, dude, no. Why?
Yeah.
Do you need more? You need more people? Fucking hell, you got enough.
Yeah, you know
These
what,
fans,
man?
dude. What do you want them to do over there? What do you want them to do?
Yeah, what would they do? They're already doing 12 to 15 match pay-per-views, right, on average. And as it is, 2/3 of their roster are never involved in the show because they have so many people.
Like Claudio, he wasn't on the pay-per-view at all. You know,
No,
that's a big name.
Remember what a game changer that was going to be,
Huge
and
game changer, bro.
how
Barely
he was finally
fucking
going to
used
get
the
his
bloke.
opportunity to shine now that he was unshackled from WWE.
Far out. Anyway, it just boggles the mind. They start off the pre-show here. Well, they don't start off the pre-show with this. It's like 45 minutes into the pre-show. Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. First question: why is Daddy Magic on commentary? Why?
Yeah.
I was going to skip the pre-show, but I wanted to see Thunder Rosa wrestle. So, and also like Deonna because I watched her in TNA. But I'll say this: I don't think Deonna fits in AEW. Just doesn't seem to click as far as I'm concerned. Something's just not right. I don't know if it's a presentation, or I don't know if she's a babyface or a heel because it just hasn't really been clearly defined to me. I don't know. I just feel like she doesn't suit AEW. Crowd were chanting for both wrestlers as usual. I did want to try and refrain from being negative for this review, bro, but it's just really difficult. One thing I picked up on, Deonna Purrazzo kind of, knocked Thunder Rosa while she was standing on the top rope, and she poled herself. And Deonna should have been the one to tie her feet up so she could set up the Tree of Woe, but the cameraman was shooting Thunder Rosa. She was sitting on that top rope, and you actively saw her cross her feet and tangle her own feet up in the turnbuckle. So I was like, you shouldn't be shooting it. Like, I know maybe the cameraman probably didn't know that she was going to do that, but that was just a little bit sloppy on the two ladies there. There was a kind of sloppy finish for this match. Other than that, most of the match was pretty good. Deonna kind of used the ropes to get the pinfall victory. But the pinfall was very, a bit messy. Daddy Magic asked for a instant replay. Tony Schiavone says, yes, we have instant replay. And then they proceeded to not show an instant replay.
Yeah. Because the guy in their production truck doesn't have his shit together. They didn't have a replay buffed.
Yep. 10 minutes, 15 seconds. Let's move forward. Tony Khan comes out with his stupid fucking hair on his fucking... Is there no one, even his girlfriend, is there no one that was going to tell him about the rat's nest on his fucking head? He looks like a buffoon, man.
Yeah, like him being rich doesn't stop him from looking idiotic, right? The fact that we know that he's rich and successful doesn't make his appearance suddenly not look disheveled.
But like, okay, at least he's wearing suits again instead of
Mm,
wearing that smelly stoner's jacket that he used to wear. Um, but his hair, just neaten it up a little bit, Tony, please. Have a
yeah.
shave as well. Um, anyway, he's there with Martha Hart. And he talks about how he and Martha were talking on Christmas Eve about this is all a lie. I could this is all not true. But apparently Martha had the great idea. Martha had the idea that the winners of the Owen Hart tournament will be given world title shots at All In at Wembley. Does
Mm.
that sound a bit familiar?
Interesting. It sounds familiar, and also I'm pretty sure that the Wembley event is taking place the exact same month as a certain other event where two winners of a certain other they ripped off the King of the Ring. All right, let's stop beating around it. Okay, no disrespect to Dr. Martha Hart, but Tony, shame on you for
She
dragging
didn't
her
come up
into a
with that
lie.
idea and
She
pitch
didn't
the
come
idea
up
on the
to it.
phone. She doesn't care.
Yeah, she didn't come up with it. Tony, you just did that. You saw that WWE did it. You saw that it added some more interest to the outcome of the tournament, and you know that the previous two have fizzled. So you took the idea, you know?
The last thing I'll say about Tony before we move forward here, but bro, he is so painful on the microphone. And an AEW All In, we're gonna have the winners of the Owen tournament. They're gonna get world title shots at All In Wembley. Like, dude, just have
Yeah,
a bit of fucking like, I don't know, announce and pronounce. Stop talking like you're
yeah.
shouting down a fucking hallway at someone
He
who
always
can't
talk
quite
like
hear you.
yeah. It always sounds like he's the biggest fan of what he's announcing as
Yeah,
well.
it is. He's like, oh, he's waiting for that pop. Anyway, okay, let's move forward. Get this over and done with. Cage of Agony, not Gates of Agony. No, they're known as Cage of Agony. Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. Cage of Agony.
Oh, is the
That's a
pre-show
great
still not
name.
over yet? How
No, bro.
fucking long does the pre-show go for?
Like this was 45 minutes of time. Anyway, look, they were against the Acclaimed. I could care less for it. Cage of Agony are like Jeff Jarrett's crew. They're never going to get any important wins. They're like Shane Taylor Promotions. They are there to be bodies to cop pinfalls from people above them. They're never
Yeah.
going anywhere. Oh, by the way, and a local sports team mascot got involved here and cost Cage of Agony the win here. Billy Gunn won with an inside cradle on one of the Cage of Agony guys. 11 minutes 41 seconds to get to our foregone conclusion. Number one. And let's move forward into the pay-per-view here. Juicy Boy, take it away with the AEW International Championship on the line. Roderick Strong taking on Will Ospreay.
All right. So, you know, we saw some nice athleticism on display right from the beginning. And at least these two guys each picked a body part and worked on it, which was good. It was refreshing to see Will Ospreay at least start out a match with more of a brawling style and at least try to make it look like it's more of a fight. Although he double-legged Roddy on the outside at one point and gave him some really fake-looking ground and pound punches where his hand never even made any contact with Roderick Strong. The Doomsday spot on the outside was absolutely stupid. You start off your opening match and everything's going well for about 3 minutes. And then the very second you do your first big spot, the fucking guy whose only job on the pay-per-view was to do that fucks it up and nearly drops one of the highest paid, biggest stars in that company on the back of their head. It makes no sense for Will Ospreay to have a heel manager uh, when he's clearly the babyface in this match, and Roderick Strong, the opponent, is also in a heel group. So what's the point of having Don Callis on commentary doing this heel persona? It doesn't make sense.
It's confusing.
It was the right result to have Will Ospreay win the international title because at least he actually is from somewhere outside the United States, so it makes sense. Roderick needs to do nothing but win for the foreseeable future now. That's like 2 or 3 big lot. Like he cannot continue losing like that going forward. B+ for the match.
When it comes to that Doomsday device, again, this is like, I don't know who's the agent for the match. I don't know if they listen to them, you know, if they have anything to say, but like, that move was so unnecessary because it had no effect on anything to do with the match other than Roderick had some heat or got some heat on Will. Like, he could do that anyway. Like, Will gets shoved into the ring post. I know maybe that's not as, much of a cum shot for the fans there, but at least it's not something completely unnecessary and dangerous. And the guy landed on his head. Like, it just boggles the mind. And again, this is the thing I always say. They always burn the crowd out too early with these pay-per-views, and they just do too much constantly early on. Anyway, God, I had a lot of problems with this one. Because like that should have been the end of the match. If this were real, that should have been the end of the match. A Doomsday device where he landed on his head and the guy jumped from inside the ring to the outside of the ring. That's a finish. It's like Roderick is good, right? But once he loses this belt, will he be on the next pay-per-view? Will he be important enough? Or will he go into like, that same echelon of like a Miro or a Big Bill or I don't know, Ricky Starks, where you just don't see them on pay-per-view
Just get
anymore.
banished, yeah.
Hated the part when Wardlow got caught by the referee. The crowd was loving this, right?
Yeah.
Just loving it. The Kingdom at one stage were affecting the lay of the land in AEW, that devil storyline. Now Will is able to oust them all, bro.
Yep.
I love the X-Pac powerbomb counter. I think some of their chain wrestling was some of the intricate reversals and stuff. I like some of that stuff. I like Roderick. I don't have as much of a problem with Will as I do with some people, but I think he could be so much better if he just didn't do too much dangerous shit or have to go so far beyond what is realistic for a professional wrestler to go through and still fucking kick out. I can't stand it. And it always seems to me that every opponent this guy has always takes him to his limit.
Yep.
Like Lee Moriarty on TV, they went like 21 minutes or something like that. I don't know who
Fletcher.
He had that like these guys shouldn't be taking him to his absolute limit.
Yeah.
Someone has to win a match in 7 minutes sometimes, right? Not that I'm saying he needs to win a match in 7 minutes here, but it just seems like everyone takes Will to the limit and it's always the greatest match ever.
Yeah.
And
then it means less when he actually does have a significant match, a championship match like this. But it didn't feel any different from the other matches we've recently seen him in because it's always full tilt right from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. Anyway, we knew he was going to win. Stormbreaker. It's like it's with AEW, it's just so obvious people aren't going to lose until it's obvious that they're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is something I've noticed as well. And they almost expect you to just... I feel like there's a tacit acknowledgement on Tony Khan's part that their fans already know how predictable the storylines are, but they're all just supposed to be along for the ride and enjoying it, right? It's like supposed to be... I feel like that's the approach that they take with their booking, where... yeah, it's kind of predictable, but that's part of the fun. The fans can feel like they're in on it and anticipating it and stuff. Obviously it's not working but I kind of feel like that might be the reasoning behind it.
Right. Well, anyway, it's just, I don't know. Like, I bet when Will finally loses a match ahead of time, we'll be like, yeah, he's losing this one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move forward to the thing that I had the biggest problem with on the whole show, and that's that's including the main event, which I had a lot of a lot of issues with. This is what I'm talking about, bro. Okay, Adam Cole comes out for a promo, right? They don't do things like this on pay-per-view. It's too obvious what's fucking going to happen. We know. Why is Adam Cole coming out and talking? Because he had nothing to say and no reason to go out there. He was talking about, I shouldn't be here. I should be at home or with the guys partying or whatever it was that he was saying. I shouldn't be here. I don't want to be here. Why are you in the fucking ring then? You're not booked to wrestle on the fucking show.
Yeah.
So why are you there? Explain to me, Adam. It's not his fault. This is what he's been given. But explain to me why you're there if you're not even booked and you're not even medically cleared to wrestle yet.
Yeah.
I want to know the reason. So the reason he's out there is because, well, we need him out there because MJF's going to make his return. So Adam, just say a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter what it is. We just need you out there. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to fucking lazy writing and lazy booking. This is supposed to be a huge return for MJF. Last time he had a huge return again, he rushed it. He wasted it when you could have done something with it. Yeah, something similar like what Cole and all those his boys did to MJF. They could have done something similar with MJF hinting at his return and haunting Adam Cole, and then finally he shows up. Instead, they just do it like this, and then, like, cool, MJF came out and he kicked Adam between the legs, and I don't know why fucking Wardlow and Mike Bennett and Matt Taven can't fucking come out when MJF's out there. What, Roderick's in that much of a fucking world of hurt after they've been ejected from ringside that they can't come out? Oh shit, MJF's come out there. I mean, they could hear the theme song from the back. If this were real, why wouldn't they come out? I know I look at it too literal sometimes, Juicy Boy, but it's stuff like that that fucking annoys me. It makes no sense that they wouldn't come out. And also, look, MJF cut a great promo. But sorry to say, that tattoo on his ankle, terrible tattoo. Your turn.
Yeah. Well, what I think about the situation is, I agree that it's annoying that they don't think about those details, because there's going to be AEW fans that one day might stumble upon this review and they're going to say, oh, you guys are nitpicking too much. Well, how long would it have taken for Adam Cole, when he first came out there, to just say a line, oh, I've been dragged here by Tony for medical tests, right? I've been dragged here to undergo concussion protocols in preparation for my return. Yeah, I don't want to be here, but he's dragging me here, so I'm going to make the most of it and get some promo time on pay-per-view, right?
There you go.
Okay. Yep.
How long did that take you? 10 seconds.
Yes. So he comes out there. The actual energy that he has during his entrance doesn't fit with him being pissed off that he's there, because he comes out and still does the whole entrance and the boom and all that stuff. And, he's getting into the entrance, whereas if he's reluctant to be there, he should just be strolling out, acting like he's not interested at all in giving the fans what they want and doing that thing. So, the vignette, so Adam Cole says that stuff that you just recited. He says, when I'm back to 100%, I'm going to kick MJF's ass. The kingdom is going to continue to dominate AEW when I'm back to 100% because I'm Adam Cole. And he goes through the Adam Cole baby thing. It goes dark. Again, something we've seen 50 times. It also goes dark when Malachi Black does something. It goes dark when Sting is about to show up and do something, etc. So it goes dark. Instead of cutting to just the lights come back on and MJF is already there or something like that, they instead cut to this elaborate vignette of You know, we cut into this room, we see a mannequin with the Burberry scarf, and there's some other MJF memorabilia in the background. Then you see the two ripped halves of the selfie photo with Adam Cole and MJF placed together back in front of the camera. Now, at this point, I was thinking, I don't think anyone gives a shit about this feud anymore or the previous pairing. It's been so long in wrestling terms, right? Who's clamoring for MJF to come back and spend another 3 months doing this, right? So the vignette comes, finishes. The crowd, you know, I can't say that they didn't like it. They popped huge for MJF.
Yeah.
The music starts. He comes out. He's looking in shape. He's got a tan. He comes out. He's fired up. He cut a decent promo, not as good as he normally cuts, and it felt too little, too late as far as I was concerned. MJF walks into the ring, like you said. Adam Cole has this really annoying, shocked look on his face, like he's just seen a ghost. And it's like, dude, it's been about 9 months. You had to know he was coming back at some point, right? So then the content of MJF's promo also was a little bothersome for me. He's just come back and beaten up this guy who betrayed him and who put him on the shelf. But the bulk of his promo was talking about how, I'm staying in AEW and I've re-signed and stuff like that. Dude, no one fucking cares about that. Are you here to get revenge on Adam Cole in your big return, or are you here to pump up Tony's ego and say that he managed to get you signed when WWE couldn't? I actually like the idea of them doing segments like this on pay-per-view, but I agree with you that since they only have done it so far just for this one occasion, it feels out of place. You know, it's not like they'd established a precedent of doing non-wrestling segments on these pay-per-views for the most part.
Never. It's just too telegraphed, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I know there'll probably be people out there going like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, is it? It's like, you know what? It fucking is. To me, it is.
Yeah.
In the details,
The
it
devil
really
is in the
does mean
details.
something to me, because that's when it insults my intelligence, because it's so plain as day to me when I see it. And I can see it for what it is. If it's too plain as day for me, then I'm going to have a problem with it. And my heart rate is going to get elevated. My blood pressure is going to go up, because there's a guy out there whose dad's a billionaire that gets to play wrestling booker. And the simplest of mistakes, it's not like it's a mistake that no one would notice. If I've noticed it, then there's obviously a problem as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, people are going to notice it. And as far as people that say that we look too much into detail are just making excuses for the poor quality of the product. The devil is in the details. That example I gave you when I was just discussing this promo, if that 1 or 2 sentences had been uttered, it would have changed the entire context of what we were seeing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Exactly. Like the one little fucking thing you thought of that took you 10 seconds. Like, Tony dragged me here for this, and that's why I'm here. Then I would have had no problem. But instead, he was just talking fucking nonsense. Okay, let's move forward to the Bang Bang Gang taking on Death Triangle. So the trios titles are on the line here, I believe. Take it away, bro.
Okay, same crap as always. Constant ignorance of the rules, abandonment of any storytelling or psychology. Whenever the Lucha Brothers are in the ring, double how bad that is. They literally, the second that either Lucha Brother got in the ring, both of them just got in there as if it was, and it's like it's a tornado tag. They spend so much time both in the ring doing double teams that it might as well be a tornado tag. Puck is an extremely impressive athlete, and he deserves better than what he's doing right now. In terms of a positive, the Gone Boys were a highlight for me with the animation that they showed and their selling, bouncing around like Super Bowls. Several times their selling popped me and amused me. I gave the match a C- only for the work of Pac and the Bang Bang Gang. The other team absolute, like the Lucha Brothers,
They just
terrible,
they are
terrible.
just on another level of. I mean, I'm not. Ray Phoenix doesn't annoy me as much as Penta does, but they're just on another level. Like there wasn't a period of time where I was like actively skipping their matches when we were doing reviews because I couldn't deal with it anymore. It really it just drove me out the wall
Yeah.
that much. But here's the thing with Pac, right? When we first started watching AEW and reviewing it, that's what 3 years ago. What has changed for him? What progression has there been for his character? Nothing has changed for him. Nothing.
Yeah.
He is still the same Pac that he was back then, and he's still teaming with the Lucha Brothers. It's like, man, like you could turn this off and turn it back on in 2 years' time, and nothing would have changed. Like
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs will still be a henchman for someone. Wardlow will be a henchman for someone.
Yeah. Big
Orange
Bill.
Cassidy will still be doing the stupid fucking spot where he, kicks people in the shins, and the
Oh,
fans
and we'll
go,
get to that. We'll
"Oh."
get to that. Don't worry. But
Anyway,
you're
okay,
right, bro. It's a treadmill. AEW is a treadmill.
yeah.
They're
Um,
running, but they're not moving anywhere.
I like the guns. I like, I like Jay White.
Me
I have
too.
no issue with Pac. It's
Mm,
just these matches are just not what I like because, as you said, I was watching this and like, there's no psychology. It's just people hitting moves
yeah.
and then people doing a jumping over the top rope to the outside onto people that just happen to be there. I mean, I've complained about that a million times,
Mm,
and I'm going to probably complain about it a million more. But it's like how well, every time there's a match, there's coincidentally someone's in that spot where they can have someone jump onto them and the fans go, yeah.
yeah.
Like, fuck, don't you get bored of it, guys?
Yeah.
Don't you fans get bored of the same fucking thing every fucking match? I've seen people say that they don't care about who wins. They just want to see like a good wrestling match. They just want to see the wrestlers hit their moves on one another and do like jump over the top rope to the outside and be caught by people. Like
Yeah.
there's literally fans out there that don't care who wins. They just want to see a
Yeah.
5-star classic. And it's like, no.
Absolutely. And I think coming up next, bro, in my opinion, probably the best actual match on the show overall. Uh we actually, do I have it written in the right order? I'm pretty sure Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb was
That
up
is
next.
that is next. But one other thing I did want to say, you know that the Bang Bang Gang took out Darby Allin
Yeah.
and then nothing has followed up on with that. He's trying to light Jungle Boy on fire. Okay, bro. So is it me going first or you?
It's your turn. Yeah.
Okay, I've got much to say. This was, I think, one of the better matches. You know what? The women's title matches tend to be one of the more solid matches on the show because the ladies don't go fucking overboard with all of the fucking spots. They just have a fucking good match that has psychology implemented. I thought Serena and Tony really worked well together. I thought it was I could see the psychology there. I was like laughing at Luther and his antics at ringside. Um, Good job, madame. Good job, madame.
Yeah. It's a good act. It's a rare
Yeah.
example of something that AEW is doing well. Go ahead.
It's just that the women's matches, well, at least like the ones with Tony in the last few months, every time, like it's always an enjoyable match. It doesn't annoy me. The psychology implemented, there's interesting things that happen. And I thought there was great suspense headed towards the finish as well. I actually thought Serena Deeb was going to win at one stage, so they fucking got me, bro. Like they got me.
Mm.
And then we got that Storm Zero off the second rope call. Then she hit another one to finally end the match. And then at the end there, I thought it was really kind of heartwarming and cute to see Tony and Mariah cuddling on the ground as the streamers and the confetti were were flying all over him. So yeah, this was enjoyable. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent match. Serena Deeb is like the women's equivalent of Bret Hart. almost. Everything she does is very crisp. It looks real. It always has logic to it. Tony continues to be a very popular act, and I'm pleased that they haven't jumped the gun and she's still champion, because at the moment she is pretty much the only fully complete female act on the show. And
Yeah.
I gave the match a B minus.
Very cool, bro. Okay, coming up next, dude. I'm sure you were fucking couldn't wait for this.
Oh,
Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. Please, Juicy Boy, indulge me.
all right. They immediately start out doing the fake hockey fight. At least compared to his usual antics, Orange Cassidy tried to act serious and have a fight at first. Pretty much 30 seconds after I typed that sentence, the silliness started up and he started doing the antics with the pockets and the lazy strikes, even though this is supposed to be a grudge match. Trent is another underrated member of their roster and he looks great. He is twice the size of Orange Cassidy. Okay? The size disparity was very obvious. Trent put his body on the line trying to have a really good match, and I hope that Tony Khan was actually watching and actually pays him some credit for his performance in this match, because Trent has been floundering in this company ever since he got there, and I believe he has something to offer, especially when he's keeping himself in that kind of shape.
Yeah.
Having said that, this was also a prime example of a match on this show outstaying its welcome. It gets to the point where it should have finished, and then it continues going for another several minutes. That happened here, and it would continue to be a trend throughout the rest of the night. C minus.
Right. Okay. Double or nothing. So after this feud is over, Trent won't do anything for ages. I guarantee there will not be any follow-up. I know afterward he said like something like, I don't know, I'm done or something like that. I don't think he should have lost the match. He's the one that turned heel. He's the one that's supposed to be moving forward with his career. He's leaving the old act behind. Orange Cassidy has had his fucking time. He's been the whatever champion, the international champion, or the All Atlantic champion, whatever they called it. He's had that thing. If you're going with Trent and doing something with Trent, why does it end with him losing the match? He's the one that's changed. He's the one that you're elevating and changing the character of. And the first time he gets to the very first stop, so we could see him be justified in his actions and why he's become who he's become. And the very first instance where it's deathly important for him, and he loses because for some fucking reason, the people there behind the scenes at AEW have this hard on for Orange Cassidy, who looks like a civilian. The joke is old. As soon as he put his fucking hands in his pockets when I'm trying to invest myself in a match that I thought was going to be very, very serious because it's a blood feud, former friends, and he does the fucking hands in the pockets thing again. How do those fans not have a problem with that?
Yeah.
They just, and everyone takes everything and everyone kicks out of everything. How am I supposed to give a shit about the rest of the matches on this show if by what, match number 4? Is this only match 4 of the pay-per-view? Yeah. And not including the fucking pre-show. And they've already had people fucking taken to their limit over and over and over again, and it gets fucking boring. It burns you out.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy wins, whatever. I could care less about his plight and his best friend stable. That act should have been broken up years ago.
Dude, it should have been broken up in the first year of AEW. Like, there's no reason for it to have gone beyond 2 or 3 months while you figure out something else for him to do.
Like, hang on, like, when were they fucking formed? Oh, okay, apparently they were PWG.
they've been together since the beginning. They're a
So yeah,
stable that was
since 2019, 5 years it took them to get one of them to leave the fucking group. Holy shit. Okay, let's just keep going.
yeah,
All right, so what's the next one?
the triple threat.
FTW title match, Jericho, Hook, Katsuyori Shibata. I couldn't, when I saw the graphic for this, I was like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever to put Shibata in a hardcore match. Why does God, I'm getting a headache now. Why does Shibata want the FTW title for? Why does he care? Why is he having matches? Because who else? There was a match with him and Hook and some other guy to get the title shot. And I'm thinking, like, why would he fucking want this belt? It's not even a properly sanctioned belt. Like, I guess maybe it is now. It's their hardcore title. But I just think to myself, it doesn't make any sense that he would even want to go anywhere near that. Like, anyway. So look, Jericho looks absolutely dreadful. He shouldn't wear that fucking thing, bro. The little jocks, the little briefs.
Yeah.
It just looks terrible, man. Like, maybe he doesn't care, but.
And don't say that it's part of the gimmick. He's trying to get heat. No.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't even matter if he's trying to get heat because it makes him look silly and old.
You know what else annoys me? It's just like, this is just me complaining the whole time. They put the hook signal in the ceiling like he's fucking Batman, and Tony Schiavone killing me, man. There's the signal. Here he comes. And I'm like, he's a kid. Come on. Can we stop fucking pretending he's this fucking unstoppable fucking force? He's a fucking kid, bro. Oh, it just does my head in. They overhype some people so much, and the little dudes are always fucking like I'm pretty sure Hook like fucking choked out Brian Cage a few months ago. You know, it's like fuck out of here with that shit. I don't want to talk anymore about it. I've had enough. Okay.
Okay.
I like Big Bill going through the table. It was a great spot, but I don't care.
Okay. I saw...
sorry, bro.
Go ahead.
The fucking dude that took the mask off.
Oh.
I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, you need to watch the show. I don't have time to get angry during the week. Who was that dude? They even said his name, and I'm like, still nothing. Go for it, bro. Sorry.
Okay, so when the graphic came up for this match, I groaned, knowing that this was next. Putting Shibata into the match makes absolutely no sense. Towards the beginning of the match, Jericho managed to pop me a little bit by being the guy who wasn't invited to the party, trying to be the center of attention at the party. That's what he was doing in the beginning of this match, and that part was somewhat amusing. But then it all went downhill from there. So from pretty much the first 5 minutes onwards, it felt like it was going to be clunky as all shit. Shibata felt like the odd man out who has just been inserted into this next match in the Hook and Jericho feud. Shibata looks great physically if you looked at an 8x10 of him, but there's no oomph to what he does. Everything looks weak. It's not impactful. There's nothing that makes anything that he does stand out. Jericho gets dumped onto a pile of playing dice, and then the other two guys, Hook and Shibata, throw the playing dice at one another like they're children. This is on a pay-per-view where people paid $50. They pick up Jericho. He gets dumped neck first onto the pile of cube-shaped playing dice again. And then Hook and Shibata suplex each other back and forth on the dice, and I'm bored as shit. More weapons and plunder get brought in. All three grab kendo sticks and face off before delivering crappy, weak shots that look like they're from a backyard wrestling match before Jericho is ganged up on by the other two. The match continues on, and the playing dice that are still all over the mat are never moved off of the ring mat surface at any point. So clearly there's no interest in this match being any good. because there's nowhere for these guys to take any bumps. The table comes out. I groan again. Shibata is up on the rope with Hook, and it takes him seemingly 3 minutes to hook in a fireman carry lift hold before putting Hook through a table which had Jericho laying on it, and the table didn't break.
Oh, yeah.
The table didn't break, and it looked bad. And then to add to that, they made it look worse by immediately grabbing the unbroken table, setting it up lazily in the corner, and then having Hook lazily throw Chris Jericho through it. The match was at this point becoming really draining and difficult to watch. Big Bill nearly gets impaled on a table leg, being put through a table in a spot that wasn't that impressive. And I don't understand how something like that just happens and no one says anything. Like, that could have killed him, landing on the table leg like that.
Yeah.
Put some thought into what you're doing. Don't just sit there and say, oh, and then I'll throw you through the table. No, you guys aren't professional enough. You haven't been doing this for 20 or 30 years where you can do shit like that by instinct, because none of them have the repetition of doing that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, at that point, I thought that the match couldn't get any worse. And then I looked up from typing more notes, and the idiot with the mask runs out in a no DQ match, no less, and interferes and crappily attacks Shibata with really bad trash can shots after pulling off his mask to reveal a guy who looks like a fucking convenience store clerk who I'd never seen before. Awful match, D-. This was where the pay-per-view started to take a plunge. And also, Aubrey Edwards, at this point, should just start training to become a wrestler. It is clear that she wants the attention to be on her. She wants to be a bigger part of the show than she is. Okay? She's constantly in the camera shot. She didn't actually do her job as referee. You didn't see her clearing any of those dice off the mat or anything like that. She barely managed to look like she was trying to stop the guy that ran interference. Terrible match. And the show wasn't about to get any better. I'll tell you that, folks.
They always do. Like, how would you describe it, bro? They just put too much shit on the show, don't they? And it ends up getting messy because it's not. Again, AEW All Out 2021. We loved that show because things were simple. It was like 8 matches on the card. Here they just fucking just shoehorn everything they possibly can, and it's just it fucking burns you out. It's too much.
As a product, AEW is the equivalent as a product of the huge fat guy that goes to the buffet and it's all you can eat, and he's so desperate and just so greedy and gluttonous that he piles everything onto the plate all at once instead of having one thing and then going back and putting something else on the plate and coming back. It's all got to be at once to the point where the plate is overflowing and the food is falling onto the table, and it's a chaotic mess.
Are we just like being negative for the sake of being negative?
I don't think so.
Because I'm like,
hang on, hold on, man. I refuse to let anyone gaslight me into telling me that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Okay? This is how I see what's going on. People can accuse us of being overly negative all they want. This is my opinion. I'm not going to lie to myself about what I saw just to make some incels on the internet feel better about themselves.
And it's just like, dude, when they got to the 4th match on the show, there was still 3 hours left.
I know.
And I'm just like, fuck. Every time I looked at how much time was left, I'm like, you serious?
And dude, like I said when I was just reviewing the Triple Threat moments ago, that this was the point where the show started to be draining for me. We're only a quarter of the way through the show.
There's still 5 matches left. Okay, Moxley takes on Takeshita for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I'll be honest with you, bro. I tried to watch it. I couldn't. It was just kind of on in the background. I was doing some other things. So
Okay.
The only thing I noticed was that Moxley hit a stomp onto a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that should have been the finish because then he picked him up and hit another move to win. But whatever. I didn't really watch the match, so I can't really comment.
Unfortunately, I did. I wrote here another groan-worthy match. So you go from a match that was already straight into another one, except this one was even worse than the triple threat that came right before it. Jon Moxley has go-away heat with me, even more go-away heat than Chris Jericho. Because at least Chris Jericho, in spite of himself, he's so experienced as a wrestler that he always ends up doing at least one thing that gets a smirk out of me, even though I don't like him in a lot of ways, as I've said before. Okay. Yeah. Moxley looks like the guy who peaked when he was captain of the high school football team, and he's still clutching onto that glory years later, even though he's getting older and it looks out of place. This person used to be the WWE champion, and he walks around AEW looking like every indie edgelord who's trying to be a hardcore wrestler. I wrote here, Mox is attempting to look savage and brutal, but it doesn't work because he's impossible to buy as this ruthless killer in the ring. You know, you want to point to someone who is ruthless in the ring, you watch a Killer Kowalski match. Carl, do you think that Jon Moxley would stand a chance against Killer Kowalski?
No.
Nah. Okay. Takeshita starts targeting Moxley's heavily bandaged arm, which was way too heavily bandaged. And 7 minutes in, I wrote something finally makes sense because at least Takeshita is focusing on the clearly injured body part. They then went into a crappy strike exchange, which neither of them sold. Takeshita is yet another talent who could be something good if the company actually allowed him to rack up some wins instead of having him slum it in bullshit like this. At this point, I began to worry that the back half of the card was going to be stacked with several big-time matches, yet the boring pace and unrealistic performance of Moxley was draining me already at this point. I was already starting to feel like I'd had enough of it at this point. I wrote, Moxley has all of a sudden started using a cutter, even though 600 other guys in both WWE and AEW already do a cutter. Do something else.
They're going to ruin that move. It's
I
already ruined.
I then wrote here, why is Don Callis even out here? Why is he even still involved in this? He's just useless. Moxley then tries to look like a submission expert and applies several lazy, sloppy-looking jiu-jitsu holds. This entire match was slow, plodding, and clunky in execution, but the commentators, and to a lesser extent the fans, treated it as if it was a very intense match with a lot of heat on it, which for me made it worse. Moxley does a really shitty suicide dive and the commentators suck him off over it. They then get back in the ring and exchange crappy headbutts and slaps, which again, they don't sell. Moxley had so much damage done to his arm over the course of this match by this point that the idea of him winning it became ridiculous because if it was real, he would already be requiring serious surgery on his arm. So then Moxley ends up curb stomping Shibata onto a steel chair, but instead of just pinning him after that highly dangerous move, he picks up this already knocked out guy back up just so he can hit his shitty finish that looks like a crappy double arm suplex. Then he covered him with a really lazy pin where he didn't even hook the leg. Moxley did not need this win. This match was boring, 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 and I literally wrote those words, F.
Well, I thought they were going to try and make a star out of this Takeshita guy. You know, when he feuded with Kenny Omega for whatever reason.
Oh, don't you see, though? He is a star. He was just in a fight with Moxley, and Moxley had to do 10 different things to pin him.
Fuck off! It's just so annoying, bro. Like, there's these guys that you could just see, like, the position they are on the card, and they're just not going to go up any higher than that. They're not going to beat the people in this echelon here. And by the way, at this point in the show, that match went 17 minutes and 24 seconds. I would have taken 5 minutes off of it at least. And I was like, oh, it's an AEW. Shut up. Shut the fuck up before any of you say it. But then after that, we have a 20-minute match, an 18-minute match, a 24-minute match, and then a 29-minute match. Fuck me, dude.
I sat there in this chair, bro, sitting at this very computer, just constantly, how much longer?
Okay. AEW TNT title barbed wire steel cage match. I thought to myself, like, I don't know if there's something wrong with my eyesight, but I'm like, I can't see any of the barbed wire. Like, it didn't seem like that they had a whole lot of it. The visual is everything. Even if a bunch of it, maybe the barbed wire is a little bit clipped or something like that, to make it less, I don't know, dangerous. I don't know. But the visual wasn't there for me. It just looked like a cage match. Anyway, it seems a little soon in this feud between the two of them for them to be having a match like this. They only had a 6-man the prior pay-per-view, and Malachi pinned Edge there. I don't think it's, I don't know, it's just me. But anyway, I see Edge like pissing with blood, and I keep calling him Edge, but I don't care. And I'm like, I just look at him and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Come on, man. You're in your 50s. What are you doing over there? Fucking doing all this shit. There's nothing against Malachi. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know, mate. The elbow drop off the top of the cage, whilst it was spectacular that he did something like that, he did land on his feet, and I thought he was going to do a splash, which I thought might have looked better, but he could have blown his knees out on that one. House of Black came out. Looked like they were turning on Malachi. That got such a great reaction that everyone thought that they had sided with Adam Copeland. But then he just got clotheslined by Brody King. Then Gangrel, that was the best part of the match, dude. Gangrel coming up from the, through a hole in the ring. DDT's both the guys, blah, blah, blah. Edge hits the spear, whatever. It's over. Adam Copeland, beats Malachi Black. What did you think, bro?
Yeah, Copeland and Malachi Black are two talents that, at the very minimum, bro, they try to take what they do and do it seriously.
Yeah.
And because these two take what they do seriously, this had the potential to be a great match, even though it was really overbooked. And I don't care what everybody says. There has not been enough time between that 6-man that they were involved in at the last pay-per-view and the TV episodes in between to get them to this point in the feud.
Yeah.
There has not been enough time to escalate to what essentially should be the blow-off match for the feud in this span of time. I question the wisdom of putting this here at this position in the card with the Anarchy in the Arena match still to come after it. Copeland brings back the Brood variation of his character with the exact same red coat and fireworks that he had when he first returned to WWE. It feels a little hacky to me because it relies on the audience already being familiar with what Edge did in the WWE, and some of their dweeby fans insist that they don't watch anything else. So you're just assuming that everybody is familiar with Edge being a member of the Brood. They start going for chair shots, and at least there's a sense of danger to the situation at this point in the match. They don't waste any time getting into the big spots. Copeland's experience as a wrestler does give his matches an added element of structure that is lacking elsewhere on the card. I wrote here at this point, this match would mean a lot more if it was the first gimmick match on the show. I think it would have had a lot more impact if you'd opened with this match. The pacing of this match was fairly decent for its position on the show. I didn't feel like this droned on for half an hour. It was a reasonable length for the kind of match that it was. Impressive looking sunset sit-out powerbomb by Adam Copeland off the ropes. Adam Copeland then hit a spear without running up And I wrote here, the spear does not look very effective at all without any of that run-up. Copeland attempts to tie Malachi Black to the table with barbed wire, which is an idea that is better in your head than it is in reality, because it took Adam Copeland quite a long time to tie up the barbed wire. He went up to the top of the cage, and he ended up dropping an elbow. I imagine he couldn't do a splash because Malachi was already wrapped in barbed wire. So where's Adam
okay.
Copeland
I didn't think
gonna
about
land?
that.
So Copeland drops an elbow, lands right on his feet instead of putting more of his body into the table. And I bet their fans will consider it nitpicking for me to mention that, but he fucked up the elbow drop, okay? This did end up overstaying its welcome by the end. I think that this could have shaved 5 minutes off. Gangrel debuting was cool, but there's no way in hell it's going to go anywhere interesting. And therefore, it didn't feel that significant to me. C minus, just barely.
Okay. Thank you for your insight, bro. I know I was a bit, I didn't really give a whole lot, but okay. Let's get to the next one. AEW TBS title match. Mercedes Monet challenging Willow Nightingale for the title here.
Okay.
Go for it, bro.
All right. Mercedes Monet has definitely lost a step physically in the ring since she was in WWE. And she has also lost some of the presence that she had in WWE. When she was in WWE, there was like a glamorousness to her. She was Snoop Dogg's cousin. She idolized Eddie Guerrero. She had the jewels and everything was very glitzy, and, the theme song. All of that is gone since she's been in AEW. Her theme song for AEW is annoying. There's the CEO chants that are in the theme song, but you can clearly see no one in the audience is chanting along.
Yeah.
Willow comes out and she's still acting like the smiling, happy babyface, even though this is supposed to be a major rematch in a major program with a major talent in Mercedes Monet. Willow is improving in the ring over time, but she is nowhere near being ready to be put into a pay-per-view match of this magnitude. That much is clear. She was not ready to be Mercedes Monet's debut opponent here. The match attempted to have a big fight feel, but it decidedly did not, despite the commentators' efforts. This felt like a TV match to me. Aubrey Edwards, once again, may as well train to wrestle because she won't stop mugging for the camera and standing directly in the center of the ring. When anyone that knows anything about wrestling knows that the center of the ring is meant to be where most of the wrestling action happens. It's not meant to be where the referee parks themselves for a vast majority of the match. At this point, after I'd seen her work for a while in this match, I wrote, Mercedes has the Naomi syndrome, okay? It looks like she's underwater. The snap, the oomph, the precision of the stuff that I'm used to seeing her perform in her matches was not there. The next comment that I wrote was, this match is not awesome. Stop fucking chanting that.
Yeah, that was so forced.
Yeah.
Bro.
The next comment that I wrote was, this was even worse than I expected it to be, and I already expected it to be bad. Mercedes wins. The FGC factor strikes again. Foregone conclusion. Mercedes has a weak celebration after she wins the match. Once again, the theme song is chanting CEO, but you can very clearly see that no one in the crowd.
I keep looking.
Telling.
You can't see it.
Let's not forget before we move on, Monet, Willow getting turned on at the end of this was just more overkill.
Yeah.
Why do you have to fucking take you just had Monet win this first big match that she's had, and it's supposed to be her moment. Then you go and put another fucking angle on the end of it. D minus.
Fucking hell, it's true though. It's just like you didn't need to do that then. You didn't need to fucking do that.
Mm.
You know what? I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna say exactly how I feel about this, and I'm gonna stop bloody, being soft about it. And this was such an afterthought.
Mm.
I forgot this match was even on the show. The big in-ring debut of Mercedes, bro, didn't seem like a big fucking deal to me.
Mm.
No hype through the show about it. No, maybe like her rocking up in a limousine and she's like ready to go and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that. No, we just need to be giving Moxley an 18-minute match. There was never, I would say the bloom is off the rose. There was no blooming in the first place.
Mm.
This hire that Tony's done, I knew that she was going to show how overrated she is and that she played Tony for a sucker because he actually thought she was going to bring big business there when all she brought was a very mediocre match against an opponent who I like. I like Willow, but she was not the right opponent here. And that backing story that Dave Meltzer was like, oh my God, the backing story for this is just so, it's not good, bro. It's terrible. Mercedes clumsily fell off the ring apron. Willow had nothing to do with her breaking her ankle. And they tried so hard to make an angle out of it.
Yeah.
We knew most Mercedes was getting the win back. Another foregone conclusion, as you said. Again, Willow just was not the right first opponent here. I honestly think, I know she's not ready. She's probably still injured, but Britt Baker should have been the first opponent for Mercedes.
What about Thunder Rosa? Why couldn't you put Thunder Rosa in there?
That's great. Someone like, gatekeeping, an AEW original. Mercedes wants to come in. Okay, maybe one of the originals might have a bit of a problem with that. Honestly, I thought Willow should have won the match because it would have been something different. I don't know.
And then at least that would have made more sense with what happened to Willow at the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want something to happen in this company that I didn't see coming and was like a really great surprise. Because the last time I think I got that was when Danielson and Cole debuted.
To this day, that show was All In 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember that I gave that show a 9 out of 10. So that remains the highest rated AEW show that I've ever done.
Me too. Yeah, like I just honestly I think Mercedes isn't that good. I think she's terrible on the microphone. She's been out of practice for so long. She seemed a bit clunky out there with Willow. Willow's not experienced enough to carry Sasha to a good match when she hasn't had a proper match. I keep calling her Sasha. What? I don't give a shit. Yeah, she won with the Monet maker. And her first match, she wins a title. Like, fuck me. Let's move forward, bro, because we've gone over an hour already. And we've still got 2 more matches.
Yeah.
The AEW World Championship on the line. Swerve Strickland defends against Christian Cage. I'd like Swerve. I don't like some things he does in matches sometimes. I think he always does like one move too many when he's going for a victory. Like what happened with Moxley earlier where he had to pick him up and hit his finisher. But I think he's done a good enough job. But here's the thing. It feels like every time they have a babyface champion within a couple of months or a month or so, the fans already start going about how boring he is as a champion. They need to get the belt off him soon. Like they've said this about every fucking babyface champion they've had over there. I don't know what their fucking problem is, but just give it a second. Anyway, the match had no heat. The crowd was burned the fuck out. I had a hard time concentrating on the match because I had a hard time caring about the match. And I like Christian Cage. I think he's awesome. But like this angle just seems so forced. Christian doesn't seem like he would be anywhere near a world title shot after just losing the TNT title. His crew get ejected from ringside. We already had that rule of one. We already had a stable get ejected earlier. I just felt like the match didn't matter. And that it's a bit shit for Swerve. You know, he's world champion now. And if this were WWE and they had like something main event the show and then they put the world title match on beforehand, you know, those fans would like shit all over it. But Swerve's not in the main event spot here as a champion. Anyway, your turn, bro. What did you think of the heavyweight title match?
Okay, well, this was the other good match on the show. It is well past time for Christian to ditch Luchasaurus / Kill Switch. He needs to go. It's not fitting. It's not fitting into the gimmick. It's not fitting into the group. It's not fitting into the thing that he's doing with Nick, Wayne, and Mother Wayne. It's just not working. It looks silly. He's out there in a dinosaur mask while it just doesn't fit. At the very least, these two at least wrestled the match like it was a world title match. They took it seriously. They treated it as if it was important. Swerve was over with the crowd. There's no denying that there's a charisma factor there. I wonder if any of their fans will complain about the world champion not being in the main event, especially since no one's clamoring for the Anarchy in the arena match anyway. Solid heel work from Christian. People were bitching about him being the choice of opponent for this match, but Swerve needs wins of people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that it adds credibility, and also he's going to learn and get better. I know that a lot of people in AEW don't like the idea of having to learn from veteran wrestlers to get better, but that is a byproduct of putting Christian into this match. This was the first match since Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm where I actually kind of gave a shit. Excellent near fall after Swerve's Death Valley Power Slam. I wrote here, it looks like it feels as though a rematch between these two would bear fruit. I think that there's a sign that there's some chemistry there between these two in the ring. I popped for the fact that Mother Wayne is so tall that she is taller than Prince Nana even when she's standing on the floor and he's standing on the steel steps. Next thing I wrote, Kill Switch continues to be useless, and every time I notice him, it takes me out of the match because he's dressed like a dinosaur. The crowd popped way too much for Christian's cronies getting ejected. They popped way too much for that ejection. The ejection wasn't built up well, and there was no need for them to be at ringside for this match in the first place. Slight pop for Nick Wayne appearing from off screen and delivering that cutter off the steel steps. That was cool.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
Despite the FGC factor, the foregone conclusion, several near falls at the end of this match successfully got me for a second. I thought this was a good championship match and a great job done by Christian in putting Swerve over. B+.
Very good, bro. All right, well, we're going to get to our main event of the evening is the Anarchy in the Arena. My most hated AEW stipulation.
Bro, do you think we could actually pause quickly so I could take a piss? Because we've still got to do the tweets and stuff, and I feel like it's time.
As long as I can leave that into the final cut, bro.
No, don't do that, man. That's embarrassing, bro. I don't like.
Anyway, as I was saying, the main event of the evening, my most hated match in AEW. I don't like the stipulation because it always ends up being a mess. It's the anarchy in the arena with the Bucks, Jack Perry, Okada against Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR. Okay, I remembered everyone. Juicy Boy, please take it away.
All right, this feels like a very flimsy pretext for a match like this. It feels as though there's not really that much of a compelling reason for these teams to be facing off in this match. This match is not nearly over with the audience as the company seems to believe it is. I wrote down here, I see a lot of fans sitting on their hands, not really looking interested. The pre-match recap for this only reminded everybody how silly this whole storyline is. It comes across like a bunch of high schoolers bickering over some drama. The next thing I wrote, Jack Perry is shit, no one gives a fuck. Match starts in a clusterfuck, predictably. No one even got into the ring at the beginning of this match. It started on the outside. 4 or 5 minutes in, and it's clear the production crew are not going to be able to cover this match properly. Constant cuts between people, and every time it cuts, the guys that the camera is on are just fumbling around, not really doing much. Matt Jackson getting on the mic during the match is annoying and not fun. He's not on the level where he can get away with grabbing the microphone in the middle of an active match. Danielson looks like a sickly backyard wrestler with his choice of attire for this match, if you can call it that. 5 minutes in, and there's still half an hour of the show left to go. Dear God. The MGM Grand is a more interesting venue to look at than some of the other places they've done these matches before, but there is no heat on this match at all. I can't even coherently follow what's going on with the constant cuts, and when they added the four-way split screen, that did not improve things. That did not make this better. Agenting the match properly would have maybe made it better. Okada has only been here for a very short time, and he's being paid a lot of money, and he already feels like an afterthought. I'm much more compelled by Shibata's work than I am by Okada's work so far. Matt gets back on the microphone again and talks in his annoying fucking voice and makes the match even worse than it has been up to this point. No flow or coherent story is being told in this match. Next thing I wrote, even though they have been planning to do this match for quite some time and they have millions of dollars at their disposal, there are a lot of darkened areas where you can barely see what's happening, and a lot of this match, it was just silhouettes fighting in dimly lit rooms. If you know the guys are going to be all over the fucking arena, set some floodlighting up. I then wrote, this match is undermining the good work that was just done moments ago by Swerve and Christian Cage, which should have been the true main event of the pay-per-view. Darby Allin tries to literally drown Jungle Boy in an ice water bath, and I understand why he would want to drown Jungle Boy, because Jungle Boy's a fuckhead, but it makes me uncomfortable in light of the passing of Shad Gaspard, who tragically drowned several years ago. And I don't think doing something like that adds any entertainment value. It just makes me feel icky. Like, are you going to try and kill the guy on pay-per-view? So the next thing I wrote, Jack Perry is as boring as he has ever been. They're just suddenly talking about him as if he's better, but he still just plods around with the same shitty haircut and the same shitty blank facial expression all the time. Danielson and Okada interacted a few times in this match, and it did not click any time these two did something together in this match. Terrible spot with Okada hitting Bryan Danielson with the chair when he goes for a suicide dive. Terrible. Jack Perry at this point somehow has a truck, and we see attempted murder for the second time in this match, where Jack Perry decides that it would be a good idea to crash the truck full speed ahead into a pile of rubbish that Darby was propped up against, Darby predictably moves out of the way, and Jack Perry is just dead in the driver's seat. Why would you be such a fuckhead and deliberately crash your truck like that? Even if you had hit him, it still would have done just as much damage to you. Which only made the whole thing look fake, because obviously we know Jack Perry is too much of a pussy to actually crash a truck and let an airbag protect him or something like that. This is the worst performance from Bryan Danielson since debuting in AEW. It is also the worst I've ever seen FTR look in a match. And, you know, that shouldn't be surprising because this is the first time I've mentioned them this whole time. Darby eventually comes back to the ring, but he looks half dead, and he's dressed like a 1990s goth chick going out to a club. Darby gets powerbombed brutally onto 4 chairs that have been set out, and I don't give a fuck. Darby then gets dragged up onto the stage by the Bucks and deposited down through one of those trapdoors on the stage that can go up and down slowly, which didn't really accomplish anything. More crappy brawling near the stage that felt like a lazy ripoff of an Attitude Era brawl. More strikes on the guys where there's nowhere to bump because they're just fighting all around the arena and it looks shit and nothing looks crisp. I have seen my local wrestling promotions in Perth, Australia, where I live, put on better brawls than this one, which was on pay-per-view in the main event. The Bucks jump off the stage and I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Jack Perry is back trying to take Tony Khan hostage for some reason, when all of a sudden Darby Allin appears with the flamethrower again and goes after Jack Perry with it, who then awkwardly shoves Tony Khan, and then there was fan cam video later on of Tony Khan completely no-selling, getting shoved on the stage, and then just running backstage down the side of the ramp. There is still a live audience, Tony. You could have at least sold it until you got backstage. So at this point, Jack Perry obviously is clearly covered in fire gel
Yeah.
from the moment that he reappears after crashing the truck. So before he crashes the truck, he's looking normal. Noticeably, when he comes back after that truck crash, he's suddenly glistening, like he's had a bath in a baby pool full of KY jelly. Clearly, he's covered in fire retardant gel.
Yeah.
That is not a slur. I'm using that word in the actual proper way. So he clearly wasn't covered in the fire gel 1 minute. The next minute he is, making the whole thing look dumber than it already is, because it's a professional wrestling match and these guys are all under contract and this is on TV, so you can't just try and kill the other person. So Darby sets Jack Perry on fire and it looks shit and nobody cares. Darby then gets tied, hog-tied to the cable that they have over the ring that they normally attach the belt to during ladder matches, and they attach him to it by his feet. And they string him up there and they raise him up, and now Darby is dangling from this rope above the ring upside down. At this point in the match, I begin to wonder if the company is purposely trying to get itself made fun of because of how awkward and clunky this match was. Matt Jackson at that point then hits Dax with a fake and crap-looking exploding chair shot. No, I didn't misread that, folks, and you didn't mishear it. He hit him with an exploding chair shot, which, in other words, he gave him a weak chair shot and a tiny little firecracker was attached to it and went off. And it looked really bad and fake, especially for a match that's meant to be really intense. Okada is clearly not having a problem with just slumming it and just not really working for his money. He does the annoying thing that the Bucks normally do of pulling a thumbtack covered pad onto his arm, after which he delivers an extremely weak looking Rainmaker to Dax that doesn't look like it hurt at all because he was clearly afraid of hitting him too hard with the thumbtacks. Okada then gets given a really annoying looking pair of thumbtack sneakers out from under the ring.
Oh my God.
And offers them to the Bucks. At that point, they raise Darby up a little bit further. He's still being attached to this cable the whole time, unable to escape. They raise him up. The Bucks put the thumbtack sneakers on. They do the double super kick into his face, and then Darby Allin is just hanging there in agonizing pain. This was treated like it was more important and like it was cooler than it actually was. They've done so much to Darby at this point, and he gets the shit kicked out of him so much that you're just desensitized to it at this point. Next thing, Darby takes a thumbtack kick, and then Matt tries to do it again, only to accidentally kick his brother Nick, which is about the 85th time we've seen them do that exact same spot, and they do it on every single pay-per-view match. Bryan Danielson, by this point, has returned to the match, and I had forgotten he was even in the match because that's how long of gaps of time were going on in between seeing the different guys. None of Darby's team makes any attempt to help him down, even though he's hanging there with a bleeding face above the ring in a prone position with blood rushing to his head. None of his team who can see this happening at any point got in there and tried to help him out of that predicament, which was stupid, of course. Bryan Danielson has resorted to recycling his yes gimmick in AEW to try to compensate for some of that lost star power. He clearly realizes that he's lost some of that aura, because I remember when he first signed with AEW, he put out an interview where he was quite emphatic that he had agreed with WWE that he wouldn't bring the yes gimmick over to AEW because WWE felt like that was a creation of both theirs and Bryan Danielson. And yet here he is breaking it out several years later because he needs something at this point. This has just been a dreadful match. There's a really anticlimactic ending when the Bucks end up hitting their stupid fucking double knee, which looked as bad as ever, which was followed up by Jack Perry hitting Bryan Danielson with a crappier looking version of Bryan Danielson's running knee for the pin. The wrong team won this match. The wrong person took the pin in this match. There was no reason for Bryan Danielson to be pinned in this match. Absolutely no reason at all for him to be the one to take this pin. This was the worst pay-per-view main event I have ever seen. Ever. I'm not saying that to exaggerate. I'm not saying that to shit on AEW. This is worse than the December to Dismember Elimination Chamber. It's worse than the SummerSlam match where Cena overcame all of the Nexus on his own and pinned like 5 of them in a row consecutively. It's worse than that.
It's worse than when Jeff Hardy came out under the influence of drugs against Sting.
Worse.
Yeah.
The worst pay-per-view match I've ever seen in a main event. F. And my overall rating for the show is 4.5. This company just can't help but be fucking stupid is the last thing that I wrote about this match.
Well, I never, Juicy Boy. I'm not going to waste any more time with the further thoughts because I just pretty much echo what you have to say. It's just, here's the thing. They really had to do things to this level of extreme. Someone getting hit by a car, somebody getting a flamethrower. Like, does he really hate Jack Perry that much? that he wants to set him on fire. Like, I can buy Kane trying to set people on fire because he was a fucking monster at the time that controlled fire. And he just come into the company pretty much, and he was doing horrible things to people because he was a demonic monster.
And the whole reason he had the mask was because he was meant to be a burn victim. You find out later on that he has that backstory. Which, by the way, since you're not going to say much, how the fuck can Jack Perry end up being the one to get the pin in this match when he was literally set on fire 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, it's like that didn't... it didn't affect him. It didn't affect the rest of the match. He was completely fine.
Now, you can put the fire extinguishers on him. You can put a fire blanket on him. You can extinguish him as soon as he gets put on fire, like they did in the match. But in no semblance of reality would a person who has been set on fire be capable of continuing to take bumps and continue delivering offense in this match. And by the way, flamethrowers were used in the Vietnam War and the Korean War, and you can actually see archive footage, unfortunately, of people having those weapons used on them, and it's disturbing. So not only was this ridiculous, but you're also making light of one of the most dreadful inventions that humanity has ever created, which is a flamethrower.
It's just like they're not on the level of hating each other that much that they need to go to these lengths. Like, I know that there'll be people out there that'll say things like, "Oh, it was fucking sick, man," but it's like, it doesn't really matter that it does matter. It does matter. Oh, what have they done? What are these bad guys really do? What Jack Perry hit Tony Khan in the gut with a microphone, and they hit a tombstone on Tony, and Tony had to have a neck brace. And Tony's just sitting there at Gorilla whilst this is happening by himself. There's no one else with him. He's just by himself at a computer, and he gets grabbed, and there was no payoff to that. He got dragged out there, and then that's when Jack got set on fire. There's just so many things. Darby's dangling from, like, every time I looked at the screen, because, I was over it by this point, bro. It's 6 hours of my time at this point. 6 hours, a pre-show and a pay-per-view. It's enough. Darby's dangling upside, and the finish was so fucking shit. What the fuck is wrong with them? They do all this crazy shit and they end it with that fucking finish.
Yeah.
So boring.
Honestly, it's insulting. They charged $50 for people to watch this pay-per-view.
I'm going to give 1 point to Edge and Malachi. I'm going to give 2 points to Serena Deeb and Tony Storm. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. It feels like I'm wasting my time watching AEW, bro. I hate every time it's on. I dread having to watch it. I dread it. Yeah, but we have to cover it.
At this point, bro, like, it's honestly starting to feel like they're purposely trying to sabotage themselves.
Surely they're not. But anyway, look, Jooseyboy. We've been talking for over an hour and a half now.
It needed to be said.
Now we've invested 7.5 hours of time into this show. Let's respond to some tweets and some comments on cagematch.net. All right, so here comes the first one that you sent me from Cha-Cha, who wrote on the 27th on Cage Match. Oh, here we go. Here we go. They rated the show a 10. All right. What did you give it? A 4.5, and I gave it a 3? Okay.
Yeah.
An all-timer pay-per-view as expected. You know it's the 5th anniversary, and AEW will not hold back in this. Every match delivered and some over-delivered. The women's killed it, and it's easily the best pay-per-view for the women division. What? I had one match. Oh, two. Sorry. Great build overall to all matches. A perfect pay-per-view. The returns, new champs, and turns are all well done. I wished for more returns, especially in the women's division, but I guess they still not ready. Anarchy in the Arena was the craziest match I've ever watched. Well done. Mate, you were easy to please. What do you think, Juicy Boy?
Yeah, I just think that whoever wrote that has absolutely no comprehension of what a good wrestling show is supposed to look like. And that's all I'm going to say.
Another one, The Way, 1, 2, 3. Another 10. Another 10 out of 10 for this fucking long show. Yeah, this was a fantastic pay-per-view all around. The Ospreay opener being a slobber knocker, the electric return of MJF, Tony having probably one of her best pay-per-view matches since becoming timeless, Mox and Takeshita having a banger, even if Take should have been the one to take the win here, just saying. Adam, calling him Adam blowing his knees out in a violent match against Malachi, and the triple main events being consecutive bangers, especially liked Willow versus Mercedes here, make this an absolute all-timer for me. This pay-per-view did not lose me at any point. I was drawn in from the start, and it was just non-stop action for 4.5 hours. Ridiculous. Your comment is ridiculous, mate. How can you watch this and actually think that it was that good?
Yeah,
You child.
He heaped so much praise on it that it definitely feels like he's overcompensating, trying to prove to other people how good the show was.
It's always
like,
overcompensating.
Let me ask this person: did this person eat paint chips as a child? Like, was there lead paint on your bedroom walls as a child? It boggles my mind that anyone could possibly have watched the show that we've just reviewed and then came out of it going, wow, everything was amazing. And by the way, Adam Copeland nearly blowing his knees out is not a plus. He's 50 years old and he has 2 young kids at home. That's not a plus.
All right. Another comment. Another great pay-per-view by AEW, even with having 10 matches on the card. It didn't feel like it missed a beat. Fuck, mate. Ospreay versus Strong was a strong opener. Malachi versus Adam was a gruesome battle between the two. Willow and Mercedes had match of the night. What match were you fucking watching, bro? Swerve versus Cage was really good. Anarchy in the Arena was a fun, chaotic main event. Huge improvement from last year's show. Another person here, Party Rocks is their name. Another person just convincing themselves that everything is amazing and perfect.
Yeah, and I just want to say, this year's Double or Nothing was not a huge improvement from last year's show. It was actually worse than last year's show, which wasn't that great either.
All right, Ryan Satin made this tweet. Jack Perry just intentionally got into a car accident, then lit up by a flamethrower in one match, and you think this man should have cared about real glass? Lol.
Okay.
Fuck.
So, for those who don't know, Ryan Satin fancies himself as a journalist or a writer within the professional wrestling scope. There are so many things wrong with this tweet that I don't know where to begin. Once again, intentionally getting into a car accident that didn't have its intended effect because the guy moved out of the way is fucking stupid for a professional athlete to do in any context.
Yeah.
It's not a badge of honor. It doesn't make him look tough. I certainly don't think he's tougher after this match. So that was stupid. Then he says that he was lit up by a flamethrower all in one match, and you think this man should have cared about real glass? Lol. Ryan, the issue has never been whether or not Jack Perry had a problem with using real glass. The issue was that he was told by other people not to use real glass, and he decided to have a bitch about it.
Yep.
There's good reason why he was stopped from using real glass, because it would have been fucking stupid and nobody would have thought about it the next day. And Ryan Satin, you fucking idiot, him doing 2 more even stupid fucking things than he already was doing in the past does not him doing two fucking stupid things in this match doesn't mean it would have been okay for him to do something fucking stupid in the pre-show with that glass. The real glass, the issue of the glass ended up costing AEW their biggest star, who's now over there killing it in WWE. You call yourself a fucking journalist, dude? You're a fucking idiot.
And 719 idiots liked his tweet as well. What the fuck, dude?
As if it was ever about whether Jack Perry wanted to do the spot or not. The
No.
issue was about him not doing what.
And it's
he was
also about
told.
like it doesn't make sense to do it. It's just the timing of doing something like that. It didn't make sense at the time. It didn't make sense to go this far overboard in this match with a flamethrower and a car accident. They don't hate each other that much, but you people, you're just so you're so fucking simple. You're so simple that you just like if you see fireworks, I bet you're like, wow, look at the pretty colors. Like, I bet when you read a book, you just look at the pictures. You're so stupid. Anyway, next tweet. Air Gold. Great. Here we go. Mercedes Monet is the greatest women's wrestler of all time. No, she's not.
Not
Quite far from it, you fucking dolt.
very bad. Next one.
Robert O'Neill at Robert O'Neill 31. They didn't show it, but my friend is there, and he texted me that Becky wrote AEW in the air with her fingers before leaving the ring.
Okay.
What?
Here we
Fuck
go.
off.
I sent you this one for a reason. So basically you felt confident enough to tweet this publicly, but you don't name the friend. You don't have a picture. Your friend didn't take a picture. There's no cell phone footage of her writing AEW in the air with her fingers before leaving. There would have been at least 4,000 people holding their phones up, taking photos and videos during that match, and yet there's no evidence of it. They didn't show it, but my friend is there and he texted me. Oh, I have a girlfriend, but you don't know her. She goes to a different school.
Why would she write AEW in the air? Why? Why would she even entertain wanting to go there? She works with her husband.
Yeah, she's one of the highest paid talent. I'm pretty sure she's the highest paid woman on the roster.
She's got it made there, bro. She's got it made.
She's just had an autobiography come out. She's met the president. Her and her husband were photographed at the fucking Kentucky Derby together. Why do you people go on Twitter and make things up?
You're so stupid. Like
she never did this. She never did this. Because here, look as well. I'll write AEW in the air with my finger and we'll see. That doesn't really flow to me, you know?
Dude.
Nah, I don't buy it for a second. Fuck off.
What reason would she have to be so mad at WWE? Like, Brett did WCW because he just got screwed in Montreal. Becky's been looked after pretty well by the WWE. Why would she do that? Fuck you. All right, let's move forward. Wrestling_Mark, this guy again. I thought Revolution 2024 was the best pay-per-view I ever saw. Then I thought Dynasty was the best pay-per-view I'd seen. After tonight, fucking hell, they've done it again. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, my only response to that is I thought Revolution 2024 was one of the worst pay-per-views I ever saw. Then I thought Dynasty was one of the worst overbloated pay-per-views I've ever seen. After this show, though, fucking hell, they've done it again. This company fucking sucks. And if this Wrestling Mark guy earnestly believes that this was the best pay-per-view he's ever seen, then good for you.
He obviously hasn't been a wrestling fan for very long.
Enjoy eating your glue. Enjoy filling in your job resumes with crayons.
Yeah, these people, right, they either haven't been watching wrestling very long or they are purposely trying to convince themselves that everything is just so good right now. Everything is, oh my God, the greatest pay-per-view of all time. Oh my God, banger after banger after banger after banger. Yet none of it means anything.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're not going to remember fucking anything that happened on this show because too much happened, which makes it very difficult to remember shit that happened.
Yeah, I swear to God, dude, it's like they have the wrestling equivalent of Stockholm Syndrome, where
Like that.
AEW started up and it's like, yeah, come on in, guys, it's going to be awesome. Now they've been there for a while where they realize it's actually not that great, but they're embedded too deep now. They're in too deep.
Yeah, they're in too deep. It's like Big Bill taking that table bump, dude. That will be forgotten about. That's already been forgotten about by probably everyone that saw the spot. They're not even thinking about it anymore. There was no point in doing it because it's just high risk for zero reward, except for an initial pop. Is it Dub Raids? Keeks. I don't know who this is. AEW fans pay $4.50 a year on pay-per-views. OMG. Like, okay, they're quoting. Lol, imagine trying to shame us for supporting something we enjoy and we are blessed enough to. Lol, even in inflation. Lol. Shut up, you fucking moron.
Yeah, okay. First of all, if you want to spend your money on stupid shit, that's your fucking business.
Go for it. Is it Dub Raids?
The reason people are complaining about the $450 a year is because it costs about $120 a year for me to have a subscription to binge and watch every single WWE show for free and pay $0. And you're paying $450 a year just for 5 pay-per-views. You don't even get the TV shows or anything. They don't have a streaming service or anything like that. That's why it's fucking stupid, because none of these pay-per-views are worth a $50 price tag. At minimum, they're a $29.99 price tag type product.
All right, let's just hurry up and get through this, bro. Got a few more tweets to go, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us if you're still here. I know fucking Rooney is probably still here watching because he loves when we respond to these tweets. The real one, he's done it again. He has done it again, Juicy Boy. The greatest match of all time, the Elite win. You are full of shit, bro.
Yeah,
you are so full of shit.
And then he puts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 stars underneath.
He's just full of shit. He's just trying to wind everyone up. There's no way.
I'm pretty sure officially at this point that this is a troll. I'm fairly certain this is a deliberate troll just to piss people off. That's probably the only way he can get any human contact.
All right. Let's move forward.
Only a couple more left. We've almost gotten through it.
Wrestling Mark again. This is just fuck me. That angry old dude lost his shit over glass. Imagine his fragile state over fucking fire. You're not getting the point. Yeah. You're not getting the point. Punk was put in charge of what was going to happen on Collision. Okay? Several people behind the scenes told him no. It wasn't that he was offended by the fact he wanted to use glass. He wasn't offended by the idea. He just said it was fucking stupid and unnecessary. And if these people have said no, then the answer's no, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all it was. An adult talking to a fucking child who ended up having a little hissy fit over it. And you guys like to continue to fucking make this narrative that it was Punk who was having all these hissy fits, lost his shit over glass. He didn't lose his shit over glass. He lost his shit over a little cunt on their biggest pay-per-view ever, throwing a jab at him live on the air when they weren't even working together. And it's disrespectful. If Punk did that to Undertaker, someone who's more experienced than him, I guarantee you Undertaker would have an issue with it if Punk got backstage and Undertaker confronted him.
Yes, exactly. People keep on saying, oh, imagine Punk being upset about this broken glass thing. He wasn't upset about the glass. He was upset because the guy was told no. And he disobeyed those instructions. When you are at your job, you do what you are told. Okay? And there's another thing I wanted to respond to here. Imagine his fragile state of a fucking fire. He's not going to see this.
He doesn't care.
He's not going to see this, and he doesn't care. And you're right. If he was still in AEW, he would have thought that this was fucking stupid as well. Because it is fucking stupid.
It had no effect on the outcome of the match, and it was a crazy thing to do, no doubt about it. But it had no effect on what happened. All of the shit that happened, none of it mattered. That's what the problem is, wrestling, Mark. Fuck. Okay. Oh, okay. Wrestle Talk TV. Mercedes Monet. Oh, no. No. The media scrum. A quote from the media scrum. A lot of times in wrestling, people think WWE is the only place. And I think tonight we showed the wrestling world that it's not the only place. AEW is where the best wrestle. Yeah, you're getting paid a lot of money to say shit like that.
Yeah. No, it isn't. It's not where the best wrestle. No.
It's not. It's you know that they're gonna make this like where the big boys play with WCW. This is their new thing where the best wrestle in front of like only 6,000 people, apparently. Yeah. This massive star, Mercedes Monet. Here's the thing. The only place in wrestling for you now, Mercedes, is AEW, because after your fucking dismal performance in your big debut, WWE isn't going to want you back. And when your contract is up, there will be no place for you on that roster. They won't need you there because they've already made a bunch of stars, or they have some on the way, like a Tiffany Stratton, like a Lyra Valkyria, etc., etc., etc. There will not be a place for you there. You're not needed.
All right, next one. Second last.
Okay, the Whoosh Man. TK shows up on screen and says 0 words and gets his ass beat. The Stands. God, he can't help but book himself on TV. Triple H books himself at yet another celebration, this time making talent bow to him. The Stands. Yeah, but they're getting coronated, you fucking cunts. They won the King of the Ring.
Yes, it's the head. It's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, essentially showing deference to his own talent and showing them that respect by crowning Nia Jax. That's why she was kneeling down, because Triple H was actually deferring to her when he was coronating her. And guess what? No one would have a problem with Tony Khan being on TV if he didn't outstay his welcome by showing up on TV to make an announcement every other week that means fucking nothing. Also, Triple H is actually an experienced professional wrestler who spent 25 years on worldwide TV doing this. And he's had a wide variety of different roles on the show. Tony Khan doesn't have any of the skills or experience Triple H does as far as being on the show. Apples and oranges.
It's so fucking pathetic. Just looking for anything to fucking bitch about. Triple H books himself. What do you mean books himself? Like he just gave her the fucking crown, dude. He gave Gunther the fucking crown. How is he booking himself into anything? You don't even understand what booking means. That's not booking himself. He just gave her what she won. That's it.
Yeah.
Tony booking himself into an angle on TV, much different, dude. And how many times in the past have we seen people fucking book themselves into angles when they're an authority figure? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's just not.
Okay, let's get to the next tweet.
It's the final tweet, bro.
The final tweet. The final tweet here. And again, it's the real one. The behind-the-scene wrestling stuff is starting to get annoying. Lucha Brothers, Roosh, etc. can't wrestle on Forbidden Door if CMLL is involved. Takeshita probably lost because it's what he's trying to say, because of backstage BS. It sucks. Okay. Hashtag AEW Double or Nothing.
I'd imagine the reason Takeshita lost is because his opponent was fucking Jon Moxley, who we now know literally told CM Punk to his face, "I'm not losing to you," even though Punk had just come into the company. Let me pull that back up again. And also, bro, like, no one gives a fuck whether the Lucha Brothers or Roosh are on Forbidden Door. No one cares.
They don't do anything with Roosh.
Yeah, no one's gonna be missing him. No one's gonna miss seeing 600 times a fucking match.
Like, why does
No
it
one
matter so
cares.
much to tweet about it? Who gives a shit?
No one cares.
Ever since they signed Roosh, they've done nothing with that guy.
Exactly.
Nothing that means shit.
Like, dude, get off Twitter, go touch some grass, go get some hair plugs, you know. Maybe go for a jog once in a while. And stop just tweeting inane bullshit.
So a friend of mine sent me a picture. And it's a quote from Mercedes Monet. And it says, "I'm the greatest women's wrestler of all time, 100%.
No, you're not.
Like,
No.
I hope she's in character. I really hope she's in character and she doesn't actually believe that, because she'll be in for quite the rude awakening.
Yeah, I mean, she may well be in character. I mean, she always had that side to her in WWE, but if she was serious, she's not. You know, she's the best women's wrestler in the world, in the same way that Hulk Hogan was the best wrestler in the world in the 80s. You know, he wasn't.
Oh, man,
His matches weren't any good, but he carried himself that way because that was the character.
So, bro, the AEW reviews always go a couple of hours.
They do, but fear not, my friend, because I have been in touch with fellow Slam Society member ZTP, and I'm asking him to clip some specific sections from this review, which we'll upload as individual videos.
Oh, that's heaps sick. Thanks, ETP, bro. Fuck yeah. Juicy boy, I want to have dinner, so can we get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, dude, I need to go and have a cone and something to eat and not think about AEW again.
He means an ice cream cone, ladies and gentlemen. This is a family show. He's having an ice cream cone.
What do you think I meant?
A witch's cone, maybe, which would be stealing public property. So I'd have to call the police. And
go fuck your mother. Anyway,
all
guys.
Right. Let's get out of here, bro.
Yeah, that was the AEW Double or Nothing 2024 review. Do you agree with us? Do you not? Let us know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We need the engagement as we try and march towards 3,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, brother.
Yep. Karlifornia, Juicy Boy. And we will see you down the road, brother. Look at this stupid thing.